Welcome back to IGN Live. I'm your host, Brian Altano. With me, Jason Schroeder. You're doing something amazing today.
Yeah?
You're allowing me, very early in this morning during E3, to say the word butthole multiple times.
It's butthole.
Butthole.
You're saying two words.
So obviously we're here to talk about South Park, the fractured butthole.
Correct.
Butthole.
Oh, I get it.
Butthole.
Right.
And this is awesome. This is a sequel to the South Park Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
The RPG that came out a few years ago, which I absolutely adored. Probably one of my favorite RPGs of all time because it took a genre that I love and condensed it down to something that I could finish in a reasonable, 10, 12-hour sitting.
Yeah.
So what's the plan with this one?
So with South Park: The Fractured Butthole, again, it's we want people to feel like they're in an episode. We want people to feel like they're really the new kid in South Park, interacting with the boys, and just kind of getting caught up in that the town getting out of control and like a game that sort of goes awry. It's something that happens in episodes, and it feels nice and familiar, and it feels like really good to be a part of that. And I think that we still want it to be, Ubisoft has huge games that you'll be able to explore entire worlds in. In South Park, you can explore the entire small mountain town. You can go right, you can go left. It's up to you.
Which is really cool because the Stick of Truth was the first game to sort of like outline what the town in South Park actually looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this one, we wanted to make sure that that still felt familiar. You could go to the main street, go to the school, like. We don't need to reinvent new locations necessarily, but there's a lot of places that they've gone in the shows that the Stick of Truth didn't get to explore. So we're expanding the town in some ways, but hopefully everyone that played Stick is going to have a nice, I know that I live next door to Butters, who lives next door to Eric.
Who lives next door to Canada.
Right. Just right there, right up the street.
So obviously this one's tackling the superhero genre, which I think is like, we're at the point now where we're not in superhero fatigue, but we have earned the right to sort of lampoon how ridiculous the cinematic universes have become,
Absolutely.
which you guys did a really good job of doing during the Ubisoft press conference. So what sort of inspirations or things that you brought into Lampoon have made it into this game?
We started on it a couple of years ago, and at that time, I think we were like, man, superheroes are like, they're already going to be so big, like they can't possibly get any bigger than this. And then it's just been Netflix and Hulu and the CW, and everybody's just more and more bigger and bigger superheroes all the time.
Yep.
And it's just like you said, it's totally ripe for it, and it's gives people a lot of good references, like a lot of good grounding to understand the jokes, because to really be able to build a satirical joke, people kind of have to get the base stuff. And now, like the concept of an origin story is totally mainstream. Everybody understands. Oh no, I totally know that guy's back.
Well, especially because there's like certain origin stories that we've seen like 30 times now.
Right, and it's there's nothing quite as fun as an origin story. And so for Cartman, he helps you as a new kid develop your origin story, your backstory, and the conflict that motivates you to be a superhero.
So now a lot of that is actually coming up and customizing who you want to be.
Right.
And you guys have actually a lot of options for that. And I was sort of pausing on the menus that you were going through, because every little caption in there was interesting and funny, but also pertains really well to the stats and characteristics your character's going to have. So how much sort of customization is involved in all of this?
So we have a dozen different superhero classes that are like, there's just a ton of material out there. Like, so many superheroes, so many superhero pieces of entertainment. You just like, we want to be able to pluck from a lot of that so people can kind of make the superhero that they want or they can imagine themselves to be. And then we, in the game that Cartman is creating, he's okay with you. Okay, you can be a speedster, and you can be, later in the game, you can also be a blaster, and you can mix and match those powers and sort of have a long-range attack, but also be that speedster type. But
That's awesome.
So it's really trying to make something that's yours.
Yeah. Now, the first game was in development for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm just theorizing here, but it seems a lot of that went into the writing, went into the fact that Matt and Trey are some of the busiest people in the world, and went into making this game look like the show. I had people walk by me while I was playing the original game.
Right.
They were like, "Oh, you're watching South Park," and I'm like, "No, I'm playing it," which obviously you've captured again this time around.
Right.
Was this like, nothing's ever easy, but was this a sort of smoother path to get where this was than the first game?
Well, when we got started, we needed to choose an engine, we needed to choose a team, and when we chose Snowdrop, which kind of makes people go, what? That's the Division, and
Yeah.
it's an open world streaming engine with amazing rendering technology that we go, I'll turn that off, turn
Yeah.
that off, turn that off. We don't need any of that. But it means that we take the Maya files directly from what South Park does in the show. We chew on them a little bit, and then we actually just are rendering them live in game, and that's just where technology's gotten
It's
to.
insane to think that this is running on the same engine as the Division.
Yeah.
Just for anyone that doesn't have any idea how video games work, now you know even less.
If you imagine the city of Manhattan where you can pull the camera out in the Division and be like, yeah, it's like Manhattan. And
Yep.
if you do that in our game, it's just a bunch of cartoon cells. It's just like an alternate reality.
That is so cool. So how much involvement did Matt and Trey have in like the writing and production of this game?
Matt and Trey are involved in everything. So we have meetings all the time. Like Trey was saying on the stage, they're involved in combat. We work together and like trying to really come up with something that's going to be compelling for them and something that they can be proud of. And I mean, their editorial control, their creative direction, they are inventing all these new characters because they know what their boys would be doing playing this game.
God, that's so cool. Well, Jason, thank you so much. When can people play South Park: The Fractured Butthole?
December 6th,
December 6th. What platforms?
PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
You got it right here. IGN Live, right here at E3 2016, all week long. You're already in the right place. And I got to say, butthole.
Two words.
Thank you so much, Jason.
No problem.